In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up an Android virtual device to run your apps. Now, while you can always run your React Native apps on your phone, during development, it's a lot easier to run it on a simulator or a virtual device because you don't have to constantly touch your phone. So, to set up an Android virtual device, first you need to install Android Studio. You can get it from developer.android.com/studio. So go ahead and download the latest version of Android Studio. The first time you run Android Studio, you're going to see a setup wizard like this. So click on Next. Go with the standard installation because this is going to install all the necessary components you need to create an Android virtual device. So click on Next. Here you can select a light or a dark theme. We don't really care about this because we're not going to develop in Android Studio. So let's click on Next. Now look at the components that are going to get downloaded. We have Android Emulator, Android SDK build tools, Android SDK platform, Android SDK platform tools, Intel x86 emulator accelerator, as well as a bunch of other components. These are the components you need to create an Android virtual device. If these components are not listed here, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to install them later. But if you go with the standard installation, you shouldn't have any problems. So let's click on Finish. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording. All right, Android Studio is ready. Now let's go to the Configure menu and select SDK Manager. If you follow the standard installation, here you should have all those necessary components. So on the SDK Platforms tab, you should have the latest stable version of Android. At the time of recording this video, that is Android 10 or Q. Under SDK Tools, you should have Android SDK Build Tools, as well as Android Emulator, Android SDK Platform Tools, and Intel Emulator Accelerator. If these components are not selected, select them, click OK, and then Android Studio is going to install them for you. Now, if you're on a Mac or Linux, there is an extra step you need to follow. If you're a Windows user, you don't have to follow this step, but please watch the rest of this video because there are more steps you need to follow. So head over to docs.expo.io. Now on the left, under Manage Workflow, you can find all the official instructions to install an Android virtual device. So we have almost finished the first step. So we installed Android Studio. Now down the bottom of the first step, you can find the extra step for Mac and Linux users. So you need to add Android SDK to your path. So you should edit your bash profile or bash RC and add this export statement. So let's copy this export statement. Now open a terminal window and use your favorite editor to edit your bash profile. So I use Visual Studio Code. Now we go to our home directory and open bash_profile. So here's my bash profile. At the end of bash profile, I'm going to paste what I copied from the official documentations of Expo. So we're exporting Android SDK, and here's the path to Android SDK. But you need to replace this path with the path of Android SDK on your machine. How do we get it? Very easy. Back to Android Studio. Let's go to Configure SDK Manager. Here you can find the path to Android SDK. So copy this. Now back to your favorite editor. Let's replace the path with what we copied. Now here in Expo documentation, if you're on Mac, there is one extra step you need to follow. You need to add platform tools to your path as well. So copy this second export statement and paste it at the end of your bash profile. Now, once again, we need to replace the path to Android SDK. So let's delete this and use what we have over here. So here's the complete path: library, Android, SDK, platform tools. Okay, save the changes. Now on my machine, I'm using ZSH or Z Shell. This is the fancy terminal window I have here. For this, I need to edit a second file that is in the home directory. That is ZSH-RC. Now, back to bash profile. I'm going to copy these two export statements and paste them into ZSH-RC. So copy and paste them over here. Save the changes. Now back in the terminal window, at this point, we should be able to run ADB. If you get an error saying command not found, that means you didn't follow one of these steps properly. All right, we're done with the instructions for Mac and Linux users, so everyone should follow the rest of this video to set up an Android virtual device. So here on Android Studio, let's go to Configure, AVD Manager. AVD is short for Android Virtual Device. On the screen, let's click Create Virtual Device. Here we should select the hardware we want to emulate. We have so many options. We have various Pixel devices, we have Nexus, and so on. If you don't know where to start, usually the latest Pixel device is a good place to start. I prefer to use the one with Play Store installed, so I'm going to go with Pixel 3a. You can see the size, resolution, and density of this device. So let's click on Next. Now here we should select the image or the operating system we want to install on this device. You can select any of the images here in the recommended tab. I prefer to use the latest stable version. That is often the second item here. So let's go with this. Now Android Studio is downloading this image to install on our emulated hardware. It's going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording. All right, we're done with this step, so let's click on Next. Now here we can give this device a name. I'm going to use the default that specifies the type of hardware and the image we have installed on it. Now let's click on Finish. All right, our virtual device is ready. We can run it by clicking on this play button here. So here's our virtual device or emulator. We can simply drag the sides and resize it. So I'm going to make it smaller and put it on the side. Now to run our app in our new Android virtual device, we go back to Metro Bundler and on the left select Run on Android Device or Emulator. We can also go to our terminal window and press A to run this app in our Android emulator, but make sure that the emulator is up and running before you press A. Now over here, you can see that Expo client was installed on the device. So now Metro Bundler is building our JavaScript bundler. So here's Expo client, and as you see, it's downloading our JavaScript bundle. And here's our React Native app. Now here we have Hello World because in the previous lesson, I changed this message. If you skipped the previous lesson, let me show you something really cool. So I'll put VS Code on the left side. And now let's change this message to Hello React Native. Now, the moment I save this change, our app is going to get refreshed immediately. Take a look. So save, and here's Hello React Native. This is the beauty of React Native. So we see our changes the moment we save them. We don't have to wait for native builds to finish. So this makes development incredibly fast and easy. Now, on this virtual device, we can bring up the developer menu by pressing Command and M on Mac or Control and M on Windows. So here's the developer menu. We can manually reload the app in case the automatic reload didn't work. We can copy the link to clipboard. We can go to Home. Here you can see the list of projects you're working on. Currently, we have only a single project that is done with it, which is hosted at this address, Expo. Here's the IP address of my machine, and here's the port number. Now we can select it and go back to our app. Once again, you can bring up the developer menu by pressing Command and M on Mac or Control and M on Windows. Here we have a few other items. These are used for debugging. We'll talk about them later in this section. Next, I'm going to show you how to run this app on a real physical device.